Hey everyone, it's Zai and welcome into my 3.5 year on tea video. My last tea update was 2.5 years, so I'll be comparing to that and pre-tea and 1 year on tea and the whole shebang. Cool. So I start from the top and kind of work my way down. So the first thing I'm going to touch on is acne, and in the last year from 2.5 to 3 years I definitely got a lot more acne, and it's more like that cystic type that are like knots. Usually get them here. I haven't been getting them as much lately because I slightly lower my tea dose. When I get cystic acne like that and my hair starts falling, I know my tea dose is too high to the point where it's not beneficial for me anymore. It's just giving me side effects, aka its effects, such as, like I said, the hair fall and the acne, which I don't desire, and it's not really benefiting me in other sectors. So I slightly drop it from there. So I'm not really having that problem so much. I have a little bit, but very bearable amount. What I notice is if my T level is above 900 NGDL, then that's when I personally get acne and hair fall. So I like to keep it from usually 750 to 850. Right now it's 740. I just had it tested like a week ago. So that's on the lower end of what I prefer, but that definitely works. And like I said, it helps me not get acne and as much hair fall. Other things I do to like keep my hair, just while we're on the topic, is I do use a DHT Blocker Shampoo. I've been using it for a couple of years. I did a review on it a couple of years ago. I still use it. I don't use it every day. If you do use it every day, that's even better. I personally don't. I'll use it like, a few times a week, but it still helps regardless. And also, do not get it on your beard. Don't get it on your body because DHT is necessary for those types of hair to grow. The second thing I want to talk about is my hair and my hairline. Over the last year, it's only slightly changed. Very minimally. Very, very minimally, but it has changed. The reason why it isn't like super receded or whatever is, one, genetics. Yes, my dad did have balding hair and receding hairline because he was at older age, in his 50s, early 50s. I'm not sure when he started going bald, but that does play a really big role. And again, the second thing, I use DHT Blocker Shampoo because DHT is responsible for hair loss on your head if your genetics are predisposed to that. But the DHT is necessary for you to grow a beard and body hair, so it's kind of like this trade-off and this teeter-totter that you can sort of try to ride, I guess. But yeah, so some changes in my hairline, but it's not to the point where I'm really worried about it. My hair has not been falling out lately either, and that is because, like I said, keeping my T levels in check. Number 3. My beard. My beard has changed a lot in the last year. My beard has changed a lot in the last 3.5 years I've been on tea, obviously. And I do want to credit that to, one, obviously testosterone, and DHT. DHT is the reason why I have a beard. It's the reason why people have beards. A portion of your testosterone is converted into DHT. So if you have low T, then you usually innately have low DHT. So some people that don't grow a lot of facial hair or haven't yet, the first thing they should do is look at their T levels. If they want to keep their T levels low, they have to understand that their facial hair is probably going to progress a lot slower unless they're very sensitive to DHT genetically. The only way for you to really find out about that genetically is to look at your family when they were younger. Maybe your dad or your brother, when did they start growing facial hair? Was it really early? Then your genetics are probably similar. And yes, I'm going to self-plug here. In the last year, I started my business, which is for the trans community, and my first product is my beard grower oil. My company's name is Dr. DHT. It takes into account hormones' role in facial hair growth. Unlike other beard companies, most of them just throw a bunch of oils together that they think are going to make your beard soft or shiny or whatever. But the truth is, for people who still are developing facial hair and don't have a full beard already, it's actually quite doing the opposite, because a lot of those ingredients are inhibiting DHT from doing its thing and creating an androgenic hair. So mine is different because it doesn't contain any ingredient that is going to block DHT. It also stimulates blood flow, so it is comparable to minoxidil. People tell me it's a game changer, and the fact is it is, because I spent a lot of time making this and trying to do it right, and I finally decided to share it with you all this year, and it's been very successful. My cheeks are really resistant to DHT, but this has helped that for sure. I will link my website down below if you ever want to order it and try it out. I keep it very affordable, so thank you for letting me have my little spiel. Voice comparison. My voice has changed a lot over the last 3.5 years. It's peaked out at some point, but I guess we're gonna find out when you listen to this little playback. This is my voice pre-T. This is my voice 6 months on T. This is my voice 1 year on testosterone. And this is my voice 2 years on T. And this is my voice 3.5 years on T. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Body hair. Yes, my body hair has changed in the last year alone, from 2.5 to 3.5. It's changed a lot since starting T. So I'll show you some comparisons. It's definitely filled out in my upper chest area. My belly area is a lot hairier, like the whole front. My back has gotten very hairy. My back continues to progress and just get fuller, and my leg hair honestly has pretty much stayed the same for the last at least 1.5 to 2.5 years. It's kind of like grew out and then stayed the same. And same thing with my arm hair. The receptors on my arms are not very sensitive to DHT. And especially my hands. Talk about a little bit about my body distribution. It's changed in the last 3 years. My thighs have gotten a bit skinnier. My hip area, my butt has lost inches over the years. I have more like fat on my belly area. I've gotten a lot more muscle in my chest and various, my arms, my legs. I'm still thick. The thing is, I want you to note also that I do still have my ovaries and my uterus. I did have meta last year, by the way. I had meta. Got balls, yay. But I still have my uterus, and that does play a role. I did recently check my female hormones. They were on the high end for male, pretty much, but they're not like in the female range, if that makes sense, based on what medical professionals look at. It does still play a role, and obviously T doesn't change your bones after puberty. I started T after I already had puberty years ago. So it's not going to change the ratio of your hips or whatever. It can build more muscle in areas and make you look composed differently, but it's not going to change your bones unless you are going through puberty when you start T. I'm telling you, it's not going to not make you thick. It will change your composition though. I do want to briefly mention bottom growth. Since I had meta last summer, the area is pretty different, but I mean, it's not completely different, but it is definitely different. So it's kind of hard to like side by side say like this is bigger than that. Like I think it after, you know, a year or 2 years or 3 years, it probably slowly has been growing. It definitely peaks off at some point, and for me, I don't know, it probably peaked off at like 2 years. But you know, when the growth is super gradual, when it starts to become very gradual, it's hard to say at that point. I'm not like pulling up a picture and being like, you know, but it is cool. It's great. The bottom growth is, it's great. It feels different. It desires things different than pre-T. But I enjoy my T dick, and I enjoy my meta. You know, I've had one revision with it, but overall is nice. It's good. It's great. It's cool, and I feel totally comfortable with it. I'm gonna have a really quick mention of emotional changes. A lot of people say like they can't cry anymore, it's harder for them to cry, or maybe they get more frustrated easily, or whatever it may be. But for me, I haven't really emotionally changed, other than like just feeling like myself. But like I don't feel angrier, I don't feel more sexual. Like I feel like a little more sexual than I used to be. But I know how a lot of people will say like, oh my god, you know, like I'm all the time now, and I'm like, I wish. But it definitely has helped me in that sector, but it's not like some night and day thing where I'm totally different. And as for like the emotions, like being sad or crying or whatever, I'm pretty much the same. But before T, I was already like that. I was like not really easy for me to cry or be super emotional, so I kind of was already on that plane in my case. So I definitely just wanted to mention that if you don't feel like you emotionally change, that's possible, that happens, and that's normal. some social changes I wanted to tell you about, because I think it's kind of amusing, and the longer I'm myself, the more I realize none of this matters to me. Like, I don't care how you socially, like, interact with me as long as you're respectful. Like, I don't care how you see me, because, like, that's your problem, you know? I feel like I don't need to go by anybody's rules, but, like, I observe these things going on. Like, people call me bro and dude a lot, and man, and all kinds of stuff like that. When I was like a year on T, it wasn't really the case, even though I had some noticeable like scruff or whatever. They weren't just like so bro-y with me and so guy-y with me, but they are now. And I don't know, maybe it's because I have facial hair, I look a little more gritty. I don't know what it is, but like witnessing and being a part of this charade we call social interaction is so, it's so bizarre to me. But it's not just because of being trans, it's because like I'm actually more asocial than anything. The way I describe being asocial is like, I wish the best for you, but please don't talk to me. Like I said, people do interact with me different, and at this point I don't really care how they interact with me. Even if somebody were to be disrespectful, I would just be like, that tells me more about your character than mine. I don't really care what you think, because at the end of the day, you're not going to change anything about me. You're just making yourself look like a piece of shit. So I don't even know what to say for the outro. Well, that's all for now. So if you have any questions, drop them below. You know, you can message me on Instagram. I highly recommend following me on Instagram. I'm much more active there than on YouTube. I am going to do my landmarks on YouTube, and I have a whole list of videos I want to do. Thank you all for your time, and peace out.